the worst thing. The absolute worst? It's, sometimes you feel even worse because you feel better. You're having a good day, you're really mellowed, life's reached equilibrium, and then you catch yourself. You catch yourself not thinking about them, and you're sort of okay with it. And then you're not completely, because you feel so guilty that you can feel this good without thinking about them. And you can tell me that, my brother would want me to be happy, and that's fine. But I don't know if I want to be happy about it.
Well, you see, that is ein wunderbar Einblick, Herr Terry. Und what do you do mit das Feeling? Do you find it, schweißend? Nein, I mean, does it stifle your ability to enjoy life?
I guess. I think the real issue, though, is...
Whoa. No, go right ahead. I'm just waiting for Terry to finish here so we can record my new review video. Hey, you're almost done, right?
Well, actually...
You know what? I think this donut is a day old. I think those donuts you put out were day olds, Doc. I am not responsible for the snilly, Miss Commandant. Yikes, you penguins with the voice boxes. So full of yourselves. I'm gonna go see if that pizza is cold or not. You finish your little cry fest over here. I would appreciate it if you'd not tried it. This is a closed... unso getarab.
Should I, continue?
Yeah. Bitte weiter.
So, I'll take that as a yes. Anyway, it's just that there are things that the mind understands with, reason that just doesn't track emotionally. It's probably because it's cold!
Pizza's cold! But, whatever. I'll still eat it. But you'd think we'd have the money for new food every day. Well, I don't surmise we'll be reaching un Durchbruch this session. Perhaps we'll call it a day. Good sein, mein Freunde. Good sein. Oh, good. Terry, let's get recording the new episode. I want to start out this year on the best footing.
Why not? One of us should at least.
Good sein, Herr Doctor. Schnell, Terence.
Was für ein Douchebag.
Truth here, and welcome to a brand new year for my pokey little anime review show, Otaku Evolution. It occurred to me during my break that I haven't done a whole lot of, actually explaining my progress as a fledgling anime viewer to the full-blown neurotic shut-in fanatic you see before you. Can't imagine why I haven't brought it up. Otaku Evolution has been more about anime for my formative years in watching it, and their contemporaries I may have missed out on at the time. Not because I particularly considered the old days the better days of anime, but rather that period I usually cover has had more chance to sink into the fandom consciousness, and the good titles have had more time to collect. But consider this. Like many people of my generation, I was watching anime before I had any idea that it was Japanese animation. It was just cartoons I enjoyed. And honestly, maybe that's how I should have always treated it, instead of the overindulgent smugness that comes with being in the know about cool foreign media you wouldn't understand because it's like so deep. Anime is cartoons. I just happen to enjoy more anime than Western animation, enough to want to specialize in it. But hey, obviously based on some of the clips I've used, I'm clearly watching stuff from North America too. I think ultimately we should all understand where all animation truly comes from. Korea. Come on, you know it's true. When I was a child, I watched cartoons like Voltron, G-Force, Noozles, The Little Koala, Maya the Bee, and The Little Bits. All basically bastardizations of original anime to suit the American market, the Nickelodeon demographic, and even before that. None of these seemed too different from the other cartoons I was watching at the time. I was hardly at a discerning age to... Wait, Tony Oliver? Friggin' Lupin III worked on Noozles? Oh, and Dave Malo. Amaro from Furikuri worked on Noozles? Wow, that's pretty astonishing. Huh. Next you'll be telling me that Brian Serrao played Blinky. Anyway, eventually I started putting the pieces together over some of the animated shows I was watching in syndication that had weird eyes with this uncanny shine to them. I got an odd feeling from their strangely ornate yet alien appearance. These must be those peculiar Japanese cartoons I've heard of. What are they called? Japanimation? A friend of mine introduced me to two titles. Dragon Ball Z was one of them, but it was just way too bizarre for me at first. Having been a Power Rangers fan, though, the show with the 5 color-coded teens with unique weapons and basic personalities appealed to me. That show was Ronin Warriors. Well, actually, it was Legendary Armor Samurai Troopers. Yoroiden Samurai Troopers. But let's not quibble too much, because the version we got was pretty dead on. Ronin Warriors is a 39-episode TV series that has basically 3 parts. The first major arc is 19 episodes long. Then there's sort of in-between episodes before the second and final arc. There's also a bunch of OVA follow-ups, but I'm not going to bother with them right now because they're not that great. Also, I can get more material out of them on their own later on. The show is about 5 teen boys who can summon mystical armor that represent the classic elements: fire, air, light, water, earth. Okay, light's pushing it. Together, though also apart, they fight the forces of the evil Emperor Talpa, who rules the dark dynasty of the Netherworld. In fact, most of this is explained in the opening sequence.
5 fantastic battle-armored samurai.
Ronin Warriors. Ronin Warriors.
Together, they face the otherworldly forces of the evil Dynasty,
The powers in the armor.
calling on the spirits of ancient samurai warriors.
The powers in the armor.
All 5 have been given super-powered fighting skills and weapons to wield against this tyranny.
Justice.
Might,
Wisdom. Trust. Ronin Warriors.
heroes pushed to the limits. A struggle between good and evil, and the fate of humanity hangs in the balance.
Talpa's palace appears in Tokyo, and any military response is easily repelled by the magical demon soldiers. As if that weren't enough, he also has his 4 generals, the warlords, who also have mystical armor. Our heroes are scattered across Japan, and one in space, for a big chunk of the first arc, looking to overcome the warlords and reunite as a team. In the process, their armors become more powerful. Assisting the Ronin Warriors are constant kidnap victims Mia, a college student, and Yuli, a little boy who alternates between cute and annoying at the drop of a hat. He's the Togepi of the show. In addition, this monk, the Ancient One, is always stalking them, helping them out of jams like a more successful tuxedo mask. Oh, and Ryo has a white tiger. It's pretty boss. We don't actually learn much about each warrior themselves, except for some basic character attributes. Ryo of Wildfire is the determined one with a strong sense of right and wrong. Rowan of Strata is the intellect who likes to plan ahead. Sage of Halo is the mysterious pretty boy, they all kind of are. Sai of Torrent is the friendly but sensitive soul, and Kento of Hard Rock is the big-eating impulsive lug. Basically, Ryo and Kento are the only ones with actual personalities, whereas you can pretty much interchange the others freely in most given episodes. There's a lot of informed qualities that we hardly ever see in action. If you're looking for an explanation for how they obtain their armors, you need to consult secondary material for it. I guess it doesn't especially matter, but it would have been nice to include in the show. Same with the backstories of the warlords, of whom only Anubis, Warlord of Cruelties, is even touched on. Even the combat frequently reuses the same shots, whether for the warrior's special attacks or less effective ones. But occasionally the action is pretty good, and the special attacks always look good in motion. The armoring up sequences are interesting too. Well, for a while, they can get a bit tiresome by the middle. One of the elements I think was really helpful was that there's a reason why the warriors who struggled against a single Netherworld soldier in the first episode could suddenly take on the powerful warlords, besides the fact that the first soldier was borrowing Anubis' weapon. That is, the armors become more powerful with each fight, and while exposed to environments that nurture their armor's element. Sure, eventually they can take on the soldiers in just their under armor, but by then they'd gain experience fighting as well. Occasionally, the fight is a psychological game, especially when dealing with Deus, the Warlord of Illusions, who seems to enjoy messing with Kento the most. It leads to one of the best episodes of the show, where Kento begins to question the nature of his armor and its potential for destruction.
When will you fools learn that there are no battles fought by heroes?
Oh, you think so?
Your armor is cast of the same metal as my four warlords. As you fight, it will ripen your true nature and draw you closer to the Dynasty.
The Warlord of Darkness is pretty adept at playing mind games too, trying to get Sage to doubt himself and his motivations. Fortunately, Sage is a little quicker on the uptake than Kento, but sometimes Kento's stubbornness suits him better than Sage's patience does for him. Maybe Kento's just too dumb to fool. Sekhmet, the Warlord of Venom, he's a sick sadistic bastard who spends 3 episodes targeting mostly Ryo, but then getting beaten by Sai near the Naruto whirlpools. As a kid, I had no idea those were a real thing. You could say I couldn't believe it. Sorry. Even though the warlords have at least token personalities, they seem to kind of blur together when you see them all in one place, with none of them especially standing out. Again, most of the development goes to Anubis, whose gradual face turn and determination to live up to the Ancient One's example might be the most substantive material in the show. He has to come to grips that his master has no interest in an honorable, clean fight, and doesn't value him as much as his armor.
The armors. All of them are splintered from one spirit. There's virtue, and justice, and wisdom, and life force, and also trust.
They're made of human emotions?
Look at the light, Anubis.
I feel like Ronin Warriors is more of a concept-driven story than a character one, but it does from time to time flesh out enough of its characters to hold some kind of emotional gravity. Well, either that, or it cheaply pulls on the viewer's heartstrings for unearned drama. But I'll let you decide. too pure for this world, Raiden. Ancient One. After the White Inferno armor comes into play, it seems like a lot of the tension retracts, because calling on it is basically hitting the win button. If our heroes beat Talpa with it already, what exactly can the enemy do to stop them? Who could Talpa deploy that could subdue our heroes? Well...
She's a girl. Oh, man. You got that right.